Carlos, I've been expecting you. Hey, let's dive right in. First off, hey, Blue Table fans, we're here with Carlos from Corvus Belli, which does not mean beautiful raven like I had thought. It means something like war crow, right?
Yes.
Yep, and that was actually a name of one of your miniatures lines, right?
Yes, we had a fantasy line. Well, we still have a fantasy line of miniatures, a fantasy range.
Right.
It has not a game yet. Maybe someday we will focus on Warcraft, but right now,
whoa!
Is the
Hold on a second. Infinity, but there is percolations there. There's thoughts of doing another game, like a fantasy game, maybe.
We wish to do it. It will be. Some sculptors are willing to make fantasy, but right now Infinity is our main thing. All our efforts are put into Infinity because it requires everything from us. But if we grew so much to release or to revisit the Warcraft line and maybe do something, but this is just dreaming awake, you know. It's just if I had $1 million, I'll do this.
You had $1 million? So how much would it be to buy your company? Buy everything. What?
Yeah, that will be a question for Fernando and the main hardcore of the Corvus Belli company. But
because there is such a thing as not available at any cost. Like blue table painting, I wouldn't sell it.
That's a very good idea.
Because I'm already in heaven. I would miss everybody too much. Because if somebody bought Infinity, it wouldn't be Infinity anymore. Because that's your dream.
You can negotiate those terms and say, okay, you can buy any company and have all the marketing stuff and just leave us here working for you, making miniatures and being creative and have a big salary. Let's sign this and enjoy.
They would do it. But you guys would come as part of the deal, huh? So, well, you guys have done a great job. So, I guess some of my questions are, how many models typically do you need to play a game of Infinity, from low to high?
It depends on the army, of course, but in a 300-point game, that is maybe the standard size game, 300 points. You know, a very expensive armor in terms of points for making your army list, you will have 10 miniatures, okay?
Okay.
And maybe using the combined army and trying to have a lot of very, very powerful miniatures, you maybe will probably get like 8 very powerful miniatures and maybe 2 really cheap miniatures just to fill the group of 10. Because in Infinity, you have to make combat groups that are not bigger than 10 miniatures. You're not allowed to have more than 10 miniatures in a combat group. And combat groups are important because when you have a regular order, which is the action bonus that any regular miniature gives to the group, that order can be spent for any other miniature from within that group, but not from other group.
Yeah, I watched your video.
Yes, and that is really important in the game, having the order pool, the order reserve.
So, because I noticed you've got 10 orders, 1 order per guy, right? But you can spend multiple orders on one person. Is it possible to have like one Superman just be like, all 10 orders go on that one guy?
Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that. But because all the enemy figures can react to those orders, you will always be taking a risk when using that miniature. and some miniatures are, you know, like natural predators for other miniatures. So if you face a total reaction remote or a tank hunter, you should be using the correct miniature to attack that enemy.
Okay. So what's the average cost per model? In let's do euros.
Like for heroes, you mean?
No,
Repeat the
euros.
question, please.
Well, because I went on your site and I'm seeing the cost per blister is like 8 euros, 10 euros, some of them are like 17. And it's hard to tell how many miniatures come in each thing. Because some of them seem to have the same guy pictured three different ways. And then, so I really don't know how it works.
Yes, the usual price for a single miniature in a single blister is like 7.75 euros.
Okay.
That will be a single miniature in a single blister. Then the starter packs has 6 miniatures and costs like 32 euros. It will be like 5.5 euros for each miniature in the starter pack. It's the best deal for buying miniatures.
Wait, and then those cost 30 euros?
32 euros.
32.
I guess.
Okay, and
guess
euros
it's
is
32.25,
about
maybe.
$1.50, I think. Do you know what the exchange rate is? I'm going to find out right now.
Right now, I don't know the exchange dollar euro. It changes a lot.
Yeah, it's only 1.3, so that's a pretty good exchange rate. It's better than British pounds. British pounds are at like 1.68 dollars. So for our American fans, it costs like $40 or $50 to buy your figures. Maybe as much as 90 to 120 if it was the higher end, if they're like $12 each. And that's retail.
Well,
So
we as sellers, we would like to have you know, a different exchange. We would like to as sellers and trying to sell to the USA, we would like the dollar to be better than the euro because it will be makes miniature cheaper for you, and USA is a very big market, so you know, it's economy.
yeah, it
Um,
is. Okay,
What
so
you asking me? Yes,
well,
about
that was kind of the basics. Is, you know, how do people get started? How many figures do they need? And I really like kind of the role-playing adventure special ops sort of feel to your game, where every single guy is, you know, individualized. We've been playing a lot of War Machine recently, and it's kind of the same thing, you know. Okay, so let's see. Is there something else you wanted to say?
No, just when you were asking me for the prices, a blister with 2 miniatures is right now 13.25 euros.
With how many miniatures?
Excuse me, can you repeat?
A blister with how many miniatures?
2 miniatures.
Okay.
But some blisters that have 3 miniatures that also come in the starter packs with the usual basic line troops miniatures cost, and these have blister cost the same like 2, but these are 3 miniatures. But those are the basic line troops that are also available in the starter pack. So
Okay.
because these are miniatures for the starter pack, they usually release cheaper. But this is a very special deal with these miniatures.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here's some questions from fans. First off, they want to know if you can send Blue Table Painting new rules and figures to playtest them.
Well, we are very... we don't usually share the WIP things, the work in progress things with rules, with, you know, people.
Go ahead,
that
say
are
it.
not
Say
really
outsiders.
into the studio. We have to grow a lot of confidence with testers, especially when they are outside the studio. Sorry.
Right. Who do you consider your competition?
I think I don't understand the question. Can you repeat this?
Who do you think is your competition?
Our
What
rivals
are
in
what
the
are other
market.
companies? Yeah.
I think everything is a rival. I don't see. I think more our option as Infinity. We are skirmish. We are sci-fi. I think those kind of games will be the competition for us. I think we are not really.
What
directly
can you
competing.
name any? I can't think of a single game that's like yours.
I can think in a few games, but I won't mention them.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'll let you off. So now, last time we talked about metal versus plastics, and so the question was, let's see, you've invested in sort of the metal end, and do you think that there will ever be a point where you might move to plastics?
Let me show you something.
Okay, I'm ready.
Give me a second and let me show you something.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay, go ahead. We're talking about metal versus plastics. Go
Yes,
ahead.
we're talking metal about, metal versus plastic. Okay, what I'm holding right now here, shown, is the lower side of a mold by Corvus Belli. Okay, it's not yet finished. This mold should have some paths here, some
Grooves.
surcos.
Grooves.
Okay. Well, not
That's what those are called.
Eh?
Oh, you said paths, right?
Yes.
Canales, algo así.
Sí, canales.
In
sí,
inglés se dice groove.
Groove.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll try.
No, can you say it again?
You say groove.
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 Fantastic.
Like-
Now say groovy.
Groovy. Yes.
Awesome.
It's not- Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
What I was trying to show you here is that this is the way that we make our molds, and these molds are made by Begoña Liste and Alex Quintero, our workers. They have been working with this stuff for years. They have become experts on this. What I'm trying to say is that Corvus Belli as company has reached a lot of level of detail with metal. When we are talking metal with Corvus Belli miniatures, it's not like talking metal with other companies. I mean, we have really achieved a lot of detail level in our miniatures with metal. We're very proud of that. When people usually ask about plastics, it's because they think that the product will become cheaper because it is plastic and not metal, what you're selling to them, because the price of metal is always increasing and plastic is always cheap. That is not completely true. Changing a company into plastics and producing plastics will mean that we won't still be using this material here. We will be using steel molds and steel machines, very big, very powerful, and those molds
Very
are
expensive.
very expensive molds for selling a very cheap material that is plastic.
Well,
But
your
that-
armies
that-
only have 10, maybe 20 guys, you know.
Yes.
So it's not like, because I noticed with with Privateer Press, when you buy, $900 of Privateer Press models, that's a lot of metal. And I think those guys got hurt when the metal prices started going up.
Yes, and it comes to logistics when, designing the model of the company. I can understand that many companies change to
Right.
plastics. But in our case, this company that has reached this level of detail with metal miniatures, that I can tell you that is not the usual metal miniature. People who have bought our product know what we're capable of. And on the other side is that if we turn change into plastic right now, the product will be still have the same price.
Right.
And it would require a
What
lot
might
of
even be
effort
more expensive, since you'd have to recoup your costs for
Yeah.
now making
It will be-
aluminum plastic injection molds for your whole line of figures.
it will be madness for us. And right now we are very proud of the level of detail that we already have. And changing into plastic will probably affect that to the worst, losing detail, and product will not be cheaper.
Okay,
When
great.
people talks about plastic, thinks that it will get cheaper. It won't. And
Right.
it will probably lose quality.
Well, I mean, look at Games Workshop. They went from metals to plastics, and it didn't go down.
Yes,
The models
but
still
they
cost
go-
$3 or
but
$4.
They go through a great transition to reach. Right now, we have really good plastic. Many other companies are releasing very good plastic miniatures, but it wasn't like this years ago. Plastic had their issues, and they had to go through that transition. I remember this sculpture I have with them for years, and I remember their conversations, and they were really impressed like past year or 2 years ago with the level of plastics, because they were really anti-plastics like 5 years ago. They didn't like plastic at all. Now they're beginning to respect plastic. You know, it's that kind of thing. That's the way, because we are a company that have grown up from zero. They were always focusing on quality a lot, and reaching this high level of detail was not easy, and they have become really professional casting and production company, and they have reached a great level of detail.
Okay, thank you.
That's why.
Let's move on.
Okay.
No, I think that's great. To me, that makes perfect sense. That actually makes sense given kind of your niche, where that is. So next question is, what are your plans for a more study FAQ update? I don't know what that means.
Frequently asked questions.
Yes.
Yes, we're.
Well, I knew what that meant. I just didn't know what your thing is for that.
Well, we usually support a lot of tools for helping the player to get a quick access to the rules for making army lists, and usually when some confusion or gray areas in the rules appear, we have, a Wikipedia of the Infinity rules and an index of the frequently asked questions. And I think that guy is asking for when we will update or synchronize all the languages, because we're working in Spanish, German, English, and we have that is currently being done. But a veteran player is always asking for when you are going to polish this.
Okay, great, thank you. Are we getting the Myrmidon sectorial army?
Yes.
I have no idea what that is. Tell me what
Yes, let me
Myrmidons are.
Let me put you an example. Yuqing, the Asian faction, was released with the first book, okay? And then when the second book, Human Sphere, came out, Yuqing got two sectorial armies, which were the Japanese army and the Imperial Service, okay? That happened with Yuqing. But Aleph, the AI army, was released with the Human Sphere book. That means that it didn't get any sectorial armies because it was the new faction, okay?
Okay.
So people is asking what will be the sectorial armies for Aleph when the next book comes out. And one very obvious and a fan favorite is the Myrmidons. That will be the Greek mythology themed sectorial army for the Aleph faction.
Okay.
Because
isn't Aleph kind of like based on or inspired by like Hindu, Eastern Indian stuff?
Yes,
Like,
and Greek. also, yes.
Okay. All right, next question. Will the Myrmidon have fire teams?
Yes, they will have.
Okay, thank you.
The Myrmidons will be able to make fire teams.
Okay.
That's the question that people are asking.
Any upgrade experience system with the campaign rules?
That's a very good question. There will be some kind of experience system with the missions in the campaign rulebook for Infinity. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. You kind of already covered that one. What's a TAG? A tag.
Tactical armor gear.
It's like the little tanks.
Yes.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah, they're big robots.
Can you show me one? Get like an infantry figure and one of the to show the scale of them.
Yes, give me 1 second.
Okay, you got it. Typically.
We have really rainy.
I'd love.
Christmas.
I want to live where you live. I want to live in a place that's green, rainy, and by the ocean. That's how I imagine heaven. I've got like a little cottage out there, a shack really. I paint my miniatures.
That sounds like Ireland, and Galicia in the north west of Spain is very Irish.
Hey Blue Table fans, I just got through doing a preliminary interview with Carlos from Infinity, and that is all the way over in Spain. I did the interview through Skype, and you should know that even though it seems like he's talking softly, he's actually talking normally. I'm talking like I think I have to shout through a tube all the way to Spain. Then maybe if I don't talk loud enough, he won't hear me all the way over there. So, I don't know. It's like, it's a compulsion of some kind. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy. This is really disjointed. I'm hoping to do at least one or two more with them and think of a lot better questions. What I'd love is for you in the comments section to give questions that you think would be good for the next interview. So hope you enjoy, and get ready to be turning your volume up and down, apparently. Oh, there we go. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me, Sean?
Oh, that's gorgeous. That's infinitely better. Oh, it's beautiful. You sound smooth.
Okay,
Se escucha como Radio Carlos.
Muy bien, muy bien. So, what do you want to know about Infinity?
Well, what I really want to know about Infinity? Well, I wanted to know about you.
About everything. What do you want to know?
Oh, okay. First off, are you in the Infinity shop right now?
I'm in the studio. This is the Infinity studio.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We have some sculptor here, and well, in a normal day, this will be full of people, painters, sculptors, more people working here usually.
Okay. On a normal day.
Yes.
But isn't it like 5 o'clock there right now? Did everybody go home already?
Yes, but we have one sculptor is on holidays. The other designer has finished his Labor Day today. We are facing now 2 days of holidays here in Spain. So
what holiday is it?
Activity. You will probably on the morning see more people working here and more activity.
What holiday is it?
Something is the Constitution, Spanish Constitution Day. It's usually in December.
So is that like the 4th of July? Is that like Independence Day?
Well, not as spectacular with fireworks as the 4th of July. It's more like,
Like get drunk.
Maybe it's like a special weekend in Spain. Usually, people make a quick trip somewhere else.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Because in the United States, we don't get drunk on our holidays. We're very serious about it. So, Carlos, how old are you?
33.
You're 33? I swear, if I had to guess, I would have guessed 23.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, you look, it must be good Spanish coastal living.
Well, the weather and the food is fine here, yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wish I lived in your city. I looked up pictures of it online, and I think I want to go there on vacation.
And you live in Spanish Fork in Ohio, right?
Not Ohio, Utah.
Utah, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Utah.
It's right in the middle of the United States.
Yes, I check it out using Google Maps. So because this year I also contact one guy who has a blog there, but he's in the other side of the country. I just wanted to see if you are close together, so because he knows to play Infinity, so I was just checking that out.
Okay, awesome. So you have 17 people that work there full time?
Yes, and then some freelance people, yes, because some sculptors are not CV Corvus Belli based sculptors, they are freelance. They work for other companies also.
So you pay them a flat amount to do a sculpt for you?
We pay them for the job. Sometimes the sculptor requires more time from them. Well, I don't know the exact terms. I know that there are some freelance sculptors that have like an agreement with Fernando to have like 2 miniatures per month basis.
2 minutes per month?
Yes.
Minutes. Minutos?
No, miniatures.
Oh,
Miniatures.
minis.
Figures, you know.
Que trabajan por ellos por 2 minutos por mes.
No.
Es muy poco tiempo. Tienen que hacer la escultura bien rápido. 2 minutos, no más.
No más.
That's pretty funny. That's awesome. All right, so here's the deal. What I want to do is I want to call you back. I'm going to test to see if my little recording worked, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, but just tell me, what are we going to talk about? Because my English level, as you can see, is not very high. So if I can know what...
Oh. Okay, well, I have 2 sets of questions.
Okay.
In my mind. Okay, one is about the company itself, like structured, what are you guys like? Watch out! He's behind you!
That guy is Carlos Torres. He's a sculptor and also designer. He's the main art designer here. He's my boss.
Oh, okay.
He's a bit crazy, and he usually plays with medieval, armors and blades and that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I want to know about you guys. I want to know about the company itself, because people love that. And then on the other hand, I'm going to ask you about the game itself.
Okay, you are going to publish these videos?
Yeah, if that's okay with you guys. If you want, I can show the videos to you first. I can put them on an unlisted link. And then if you think it's okay for publishing, then...
Okay, I'll try to do my best with my English speaking, okay?
Your English is fine. You're too self-conscious.
But for, a casual conversation...
You're adorable. You're adorable.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to have to lock up all the women when you're around.
Okay. Okay, let's try. Let's try to...
Okay, I'll be right back. First off, you're 33.
Yes,
But you look 23.
Thank you you very much.
So my first question is, what did you have to give to the devil to look so handsome? Firstborn child.
And spend the last 5 years playing with infinity miniatures. That cows to my skin and my.
That should be your new tagline. Play infinity, look younger.
Look younger, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about your company. You have 17 people that work there. Is that right?
Right now we are 17 people.
17. Now, and when did you start? What was your first year?
Corvus Belli as a company was founded 10 years ago. Right. With the two basic sculptors. They are Fernando Liste, the manager of Corvus Belli, and Carlos Torres. Right now he's the lead designer and a sculptor for many armies.
Okay. Do they own the company?
Sorry, repeat?
Do they own the company?
Yes.
Okay, so it's those two guys.
Yes.
Fernando and who?
Fernando and Carlos, the other Carlos.
Carlos. So wait a minute, who are you? I thought you were Carlos.
Yes, we have the same name. Carlos.
Oh, okay.
And Carlos Torres.
Okay, so in Spain they allow more than one person to have the same name.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. And I got to tell you, the city you guys are from looks good in pictures. Looks good in pictures. How many people in your city? What's the population?
How many people in Vigo? 300,000.
Are you kidding me? That's huge.
Well, it's the biggest city in Galicia, yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead.
If I can draw a picture, Corvus Belli is in Cangas, which is a very small town at the other side of the area of Vigo. So if you can see us from using Google Maps, you will see Vigo next to a coast, and there's one finger of sea right there, and on the other side there is Cangas. So I usually, me and many other workers here, go to work on a boat. There are boats every half an hour, and they are crossing always the river.
It's called a ferry.
Yes, it's like a ferry, yes.
Yep, that's the word. Okay. So, what interests me is our two companies seem to kind of have the same timeline. I've got 22 people, but a lot of part-time. And you have 17 people more full-time. What's full-time in Spain?
8 hours a day. Ferry, yes.
8 hours a day?
Yes.
Okay. Because I heard in the European Union they have really short work weeks.
Well, I don't know, the mostly European thing. What I can tell you is that many, the artists here, people like our painter Ángel Giraldez and José Luis Roy, which another sculptor that works here in Corvus Belli, they, apart from the usual 8 hours that they work in Corvus Belli, they also make some freelance jobs. So maybe their day at work maybe is like 10 hours.
Okay.
But they are very popular artists, and many companies want their services. Ángel, by being painting all these years, has become a really, really good painter and very professional painter. Fast, and many companies are sending their miniatures to him to.
Okay, so does he paint them in your shop then?
Ángel paints for us in the studio, yes. Sometimes for some, deadline stuff, he takes miniatures to his home, but his table, I don't know, yes, this table right here is Angel's table. He usually paints there. It's a disaster. He's not a very, everything is. Well,
artists usually aren't noted for their cleanliness. All right, no offense, guys. So here's a question. How many figurines do you come out with every month? Like new releases, what's your rate of new releases?
releases. Right now we are 5 every month.
Five a month?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And 5 means that one of those releases can be a box of 6 miniatures, one can be a blister of 1 miniature, one can be a box of a huge miniature.
So you might be producing like 10 sculpts a month. 10 new sculpts a month.
Some months we have a lot of stuff to do, and people downstairs in the packaging area are getting crazy. Some other months they just like 5 miniatures, single miniatures and single blisters. It depends on the
Right.
time, because we have recently the November bunch of miniatures, and because it's November, it's a very important month. We release 6 releases, 6 products.
That's fantastic.
Yes, one is, can you see this big robot here?
Uh-huh. So do your artists paint these in-house? Give it a turn. Oh, wow, that is fantastic.
This is the Dragao. It's a very big robot, because the usual size for a model is this. This is a...
Right. Here, put them next to each other. Oh, wow. That's super. Okay. So how many in the Infinity, because if you had said how many different models are there in the Infinity range, I would have said 60 to 80. How many are there actually, different figurines?
Different figures in the Infinity range, more than 300.
More than 300?
Yes, right now we have more than 300 references, and just references, products. I mean,
Products.
If you look at the website, you will see that you will probably have like 40 miniatures, 50 miniatures per army, and we have 7 armies.
Okay, 7 are, because if you look at like Warhammer or War Machine or 40K, typically there's only 30 or 40 different models on the list per army. So what you're telling me is you have 7 factions, and each one has about 50 figures available inside the faction.
Yes.
So that's competitive. That is not a small game. That's a lot of figures.
Well, it's a game that you usually will need for a battle, like 10 figures or 16 figures. It's a skirmish game. It's not a big battle game. It's a skirmish. Okay?
Yeah, I described it as special ops. Almost like a role-playing game. Like each guy can be like, oh, I'm hit, I'm unconscious, you know, oh, but he can come back somehow. That's really super.
And
so right now, all of your figures are metal.
Yes.
And you probably noticed that the industry seems to be moving to plastic and resin. But there is still the thing where people love the metal figs. What's in your future there? What are you guys doing?
Right now is metal. We have bought, because sales has increased very much this last year, and we have bought a new machine for making more metal miniatures. We are completely focused on metal. You want me to bring some other miniatures here that you like?
Yeah, I'm recording again. Why don't we do that for the 3rd section? Okay. All right. We're back. We're back. So you produce 5 releases a month. Do you do all of your work in-house? Like, do you make the books in your studio? Do you do the art in your studio?
Well, some of it. The part of graphic design is made here in the studio, and the painting of all the miniatures is done here on the studio. You know, some freelance sculptors do their stuff in their houses and send us a package. Yes, and we have all the stock here in our, downstairs. We have space. There is a factory there. So Corvus Belli is divided, upstairs and downstairs. Upstairs is the design studio, the place for the artist and game testing, and downstairs is the packaging area, the machines, the, casting the miniatures and packaging everything.
Production. All right. That's really super. So right now, how many people do you think play your game? What's your customer base?
that we became popular in France and Spain at the beginning, but right now the USA market is and the UK market is growing very much. This last year was madness, totally. I don't know if you remember the Piece of War made a Infinity Week, theme week, showed some videos about Infinity, and we had a special offer during that week, and it really worked. A lot of people got into the game.
So you're growing. What's your projected growth for the next 2 years?
More books, more miniatures, more designs, just a few more rules, because if you add more and more rules to the game, for the newcomers it will be more difficult to jump in. So just a few rules, not a lot of them, because that would be difficult for newcomers.
Do you have any plans to add new factions?
Well, we have plans to develop, I don't know if, Infinity began with, 6 armies, then with the expansion book, because we had a second book, Human Sphere, we have a faction that is Aleph, but also that new book bring that the factions could subdivide in sectorial armies. So when you are playing with Yu Qing, which is the Asiatic faction, with the new book, you can see that with the existing miniatures, you can divide them with only Japanese miniatures, only Japanese fluff.
Right, like ninjas.